Bam, 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 bam.
Hi everybody, this is Lainey with RaisingMiro.com and ProjectWorldSchool.com.
And this is Miro from the same organization.
And we are filming right now episode number 4 of Worldschooling Talk. This is a treat to have Miro sitting right by me. I started to film episode number 4 and it just wasn't flowing. I just wanted to say that. And we prepared a set of questions for Miro to answer in a future episode. And he said, Mom, why don't you answer the questions? I'll ask them, and then the next one, he'll answer them. So we're going to do that this way. So Miro's going to ask me questions. We're going to have a kind of a little bit of conversation, but we'll just this is what World Schooling Talk episode number 4 is going to encompass today. So without further ado, the questions are
So we're going to start off with, what is world schooling?
Well, world schooling, as you know, is the mode of education that we've chosen. We are identified as radical unschoolers who happen to travel. And so what that means, as you know, of course, is we learn naturally from the world. It's life learning at any age. But through traveling, through being in the world and being exposed to new ideas, new things, we allow those sparks of inspiration to lead us down paths that maybe we weren't going to go down because our initial interest wasn't there.
Right.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
And you're going to answer it too in the next episode.
Yeah. So the next question is, how can world schooling teach us different worldviews?
Well, as you know, I've been working on that article for the past 2 weeks, and I have been researching worldviews, which comes from a German philosophy. And this particular study of worldview, it defines the perspectives, the viewpoints of a group of people, but it also ties to the individual. And there are many types of worldviews, but most of the worldviews that you think of are common worldviews among particular groups. And the groups are national, the groups are religious, the groups are cultural, and they tend to have similar worldviews. But through my research, what I've discovered is that we all have individual worldviews that are peppered with our own unique
seasoning, if you will.
Yeah, with our own unique experiences, our biology, our family, our friends, our experiences. All of those things layer upon our cultural worldviews. And when we have an experience in the world, the experience isn't just an objective experience that happens out here. It's something that each individual experiences, and therefore it goes through our own unique set of filters. And those are processing the world through your own worldviews. And we've noticed as we've traveled that people have very different worldviews than the ones that we've been raised with, and the ones that we kind of left the States with. And the act of traveling has given us the opportunity to actually really be acutely aware to those differences. And then those things have helped us find the similarities, which has been the grandest act of exercising empathy and exercising our own humanity through finding the similarities. Yeah. So there you go.
Perfect. That was great.
Okay.
That reminds me of a quote. I'm paraphrasing too, but you see the world as you see yourself. Is that correct?
That's exactly. I know the quote. I don't remember the exact words also, but it's the idea is the world, the outer world is a reflection of your inner world.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I think the thing that I personally have learned about worldviews is if we're not conscious about where these cultural ideas come from, they run like a program. And we place the world based on our own preferences that sometimes are not even our preferences. They're cultural preferences that we've absorbed into our own way of seeing the world. So if I look at just one example, if I look at a house and maybe the first thing I say is, well, that's not the standards that I'm accustomed to living to, but somebody who grew up in poverty in a country that's not accustomed to the kinds of things that we grew up with, they would say, what do you mean? This is perfectly fine. This has everything we need. It has this, it has a door, it has a roof, and so to be able to have compassion for how people view the world, even if it's different, this has granted us so much exploration into our own global citizenship. I love that. I absolutely love that.
How has Worldschooling taught you empathy?
Well, just as we talked about in the last question, Worldschooling has given us the exposure to new world views, and through interacting with worldviews that are different than ours, we've learned to see the world that we're visiting, that we're traveling within, through the eyes of those people in our host countries. And their lives are different from the lives that we came from. And when you travel and become a guest, it's an honor to be in their country.
Certainly.
And it's part of the reason for traveling for us is to really experience new cultures. And along with their culture are their ways of seeing the world, which are very different. And we learn so much. How do we empathize? We empathize by seeing the world in a new light, and it gives us the opportunity to practice compassion, and that's been the biggest gift.
What does it mean to learn from the world?
I think first, travel has granted us the opportunity to redefine what learning means. Never before had we believed that learning was something that just happened. I always bought into the idea that I had to be educated and taught by somebody in order to learn. And it was something that, somebody else had to do, and I could never do that myself. And as parents, if we have those beliefs, it's hard to make the jump from school to world schooling or even to unschooling if you're not traveling. It's really hard. You really, as a parent, need to shift your way of understanding learning. How has the world taught us? How have we learned from the world? Well, once we shifted our definition of education and learning, learning just happened through the natural process. We're wired to experience and to learn, and you integrate those experiences into more experiences and greater interests and so forth.
And the last question that I'm going to be asking you right now is, what does community mean to you?
Well, as you know, community is something that we've been seeking for a long time.
Yep.
And you felt the urge to really be a part of an active community, much deeper than I had. I had more of a superficial connection with other people that were embarking on this lifestyle, and I created that kind of community connection online. For you, community was paramount in your development, and once, because of your desire to really have that experience, once you voiced that this was one of your primary concerns, we started to create community. And the way that we did so was, of course, by inviting teens to come have some of these immersive travel and learning experiences that we were having, because we knew that by having these experiences, your head blows open with so much information. And once we started to combine the, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more people having the same experience at the same time, the learning became that much more profound. And then the feedback, one person would give information based on their experiences from something else, and then that would layer upon the experience that we had and different information. Then that would inspire, interest to study from another perspective. And the fact that the act of sharing these experiences with other people took on a life of its own. Not only was learning profound, not only were we satisfying our deep desire to experience community, we were creating an intention of surrounding our learning, our communities, and actually about our lives.
Right.
We felt, once we figured out a way to nurture community with other people, we felt as if all of it made sense. We're not functioning in a vacuum. We're not out there alone. We're not the only crazy people that have these types of ideas, and we see the value in living, in such a free way, and adapting Worldschooling as our mode of education.
And that's that.
On a one-to-one basis. Yeah, we're goofy sometimes. Yeah, that's gonna happen when you've got Miro and I together.
Alrighty then. Well,
don't you agree, Miro?
I do agree, 100%. I think what you said is so accurate.
You don't want to answer the question.